I opened my fridge and just stood there. Not because it was empty, because I had no idea what I was looking for. Milk, eggs, leftovers I didn't remember making. I closed the door without touching anything. That's when it hit me. I wasn't out of food. I was out of a routine. I'm 94. I live alone in Toledo. No one's cooking for me. No one's asking if I ate. And somewhere along the way, I stopped paying attention. Breakfast became cereal because it was easy. Lunch was a sandwich usually eaten standing at the sink. Dinner depended on whether I felt like it. Nothing dramatic happened, but by the afternoon I felt it. That quiet kind of tired you don't talk about. The kind where getting up from a chair takes a second longer than it used to. I told myself it was just age. That's what we all say, right? But here's the thing nobody likes to admit. You don't fall apart all at once. You just stop doing small things, and then one day you notice. I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel unhealthy. I just felt off, and standing there in my own kitchen, I had a thought I didn't like. If I keep eating like this, what exactly am I heading toward? I didn't have an answer, but for the first time I realized something simple. I wasn't choosing my meals anymore. I was just avoiding the decision. I left the kitchen and sat down with a bowl of cereal anyway. That's what I always did when I didn't want to think. Turn on the TV. Eat something easy. Move on. That night I had PBS playing in the background. I wasn't really watching at first, just noise. Then I heard something that made me look up. They were talking about people who live a very long time, not in a lab, not on some special program, just regular people. And one line stuck with me. They eat almost the same thing every day. I remember thinking, that can't be right. Americans don't eat like that. We're taught the opposite. Variety, options, choices. That's what we call normal. So I shrugged it off. Next morning, I went right back to cereal. Same bowl, same routine, or what I thought was a routine. But something had changed. I started noticing how often I was deciding what to eat, and how quickly I gave up on the decision. Open fridge. Pick the easiest thing. Close it. No plan, no structure, just whatever required the least effort. And once you see that it's hard to unsee it. I didn't suddenly become healthy. I didn't clean out my kitchen. I just kept hearing that sentence in my head. The same thing every day. And for the first time, it didn't sound boring. It sounded easier. I stood in the kitchen again the next day, staring at the counter, like it was going to make the decision for me. It didn't. And that's when I remembered something I hadn't thought about in years. My mother used to say, if you don't know what to eat, start a pot. I didn't feel like cooking. At 94, starting a pot isn't a cute idea. It's work. Lifting a heavy pot, waiting for water to boil. Standing longer than I want to, it adds up. But I was tired of standing there doing nothing. So I drove to Kroger. Didn't buy anything fancy. Just what I could carry without making 2 trips. A bag of pearl barley, a few cans of beans, some carrots, a potato. That was enough. Back home, I filled the pot, turned on the stove, and halfway through I had to stop and rest my hands on the counter. That's the part nobody shows you. I made the soup anyway. First couple days I ate it. It was fine. Nothing special. By day 3, I was back to a sandwich. Too plain, too repetitive. That's what I told myself. But later that week, around mid-afternoon, I felt that same drop in energy again. Not dramatic, just enough to notice. And without thinking too much about it, I pulled the pot back out. Not because I believed in it, because I didn't feel like making another decision. I set the bowl down on the table and actually sat to eat it. That alone felt different. Not better food, just a real meal. These days I eat almost the same thing every day. Not because I'm strict, because it works. In the morning, I heat up barley. Nothing fancy, a little salt. Sometimes I add a bit of olive oil. That's it. It keeps me steady. I don't feel that mid-morning drop anymore. For lunch, I go back to the pot. Beans, vegetables, barley, whatever I made that Sunday. I warm it up and I sit down. I don't eat standing at the sink anymore. I stopped doing that. One small thing I picked up from that PBS program stuck with me. I add olive oil after cooking. I couldn't explain why if you asked me. I just do it. It makes sense in a way I don't need to argue with. Dinner is simple. A piece of bread, some fruit, maybe a little cheese if I feel like it. Nothing heavy. I sleep better when I keep it light. And on Sundays I cook. Same pot, same corner of the kitchen. I don't change much. There are days I still fall back into old habits. I'm not perfect, but most weeks I come back to this. And the biggest change isn't the food. It's that I don't stand in front of the fridge wondering what to do anymore.